Formula 1 has arrived in Portugal and tensions have risen between Sam and Zak Brown over at McLaren. Sam has vented his frustration at Zak over McLaren's lack of development. At the start of the season, McLaren were genuine title contenders. Sam was top of the Drivers' Championship and McLaren were comfortably in front of Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. But in the second half of the season, things have taken a massive turn for the worse, with Sam stating after the end of the previous race that McLaren are no longer in the title race, being over 60 points back, and McLaren are no longer top of the Constructors' Championship. In fact, Mercedes and Red Bull have both overtaken them. McLaren say they are still giving it 100% in this season, but Sam has said that McLaren have lost that winning feeling within the team. This is a very interesting scenario, as of course there's been what we thought was an unbreakable partnership between Sam and Zak Brown. But I think now that after McLaren's failure to win the championship last year due to issues that Sam raised, this season McLaren seem to have not fixed all of the issues that Sam was looking at. Could this be the start of the breakup between Sam and Zak Brown, or can they get their championship back on track in the last set of races and try and put a late push in for the championship? Taking a look at the race news heading into this weekend, Aston Martin shocked the paddock by going fastest in practice in the hands of Oscar Piastri. And not only was their qualifying simulation pace competitive, their race pace was also really quick as well, and this has caught the eye of a lot of teams in the paddock. Mercedes and Red Bull, however, are right behind them in practice, especially in the race simulation runs. Ferrari cannot get their front tyres working here at Portugal. Portugal is a very difficult circuit for the tyres to really get working and to give you the maximum amount of grip, and here Ferrari is struggling with the front tyres, which is costing them a lot of performance. For Porsche, they're also having issues with tyre warm-up. Now, for them in their qualifying simulation runs, they found themselves lacking quite a bit of pace. However, come the long runs though, Porsche seem to actually get a little bit quicker, and this is something that they're hoping to take forwards into the race and build a setup around that. And filling more tension between McLaren and Sam, Sam has come out after the practice session and said that McLaren was absolutely awful. He said that there was no grip, no pace, and the straight line speed of the car was really weak. So while at the moment they're trying their hardest to give it 100% for a late title push, as things stand, according to Sam, well, that performance trajectory is only continuing to go down. Yo, what's going on guys, it is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. We're back for season number 11, round 14 of the season. It's the Portuguese Grand Prix, and let's get straight into this roller coaster of a racetrack. And if you guys end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop it a like, that'd be absolutely amazing, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And let's get on with this race weekend then. So as you can see, we're going around on our banker lap here, round towards the final corner. Got a little bit of an understeer on the exit as we now get our way down towards the start-finish straight here. And it's a very interesting session to come. I've gone with a completely different setup configuration, and it actually does not do us that badly. Second place on the road as we exit our first banker lap there and smack over the curb, but it does drop us down to P10, so we need to try and get a better lap in here. So my setup configuration for this weekend is basically to have more top speed, sacrifice the downforce, because I just felt comfortable on the straights and I had a little bit of competitiveness in the corner, but it does mean that we need to try and get a little bit further up the grid to try and help with this position. So as you can see, we're already 4 tenths up on our previous best lap. Back end slides there on the exit of turn 3. Happens pretty much every single time you go around that point, but we're purple. First sector now, still 3 and a bit tenths up on our previous best lap, getting a good exit off this corner, raising that to 6 tenths of a second now as we go through in towards the heart of the middle sector. We've got a car in front of us, it's a BMW, and he's going to try and park it, and he parks it right on the apex off the corner, and that's completely ruined our qualifying lap. We were 6 tenths up, but that car that already finished a qualifying lap thought the smartest place to go ahead and put the car was right on the apex of the corner, and that has ruined our lap. We're half a second down. We'll try and give it our best shot. We've pulled it back a little bit so that we're 2 tenths down, still losing time here, and unfortunately as we're coming towards the last corner here, I've got Reese and the Porsche right behind me. We're 2.5 tenths down on our previous best lap. There's nothing we could do about it. The BMW has completely screwed us. It's P10 only. Alright, so as you can see, we're on the grid here for the start of the Portuguese Grand Prix. It's a one-stop strategy for us here today. but unfortunately it is a compromised one-stop strategy. So here we go then, we've got the 5 red lights going on to this screen, and they are out, and we are underway, and it's a good getaway from us there, instantly passing the McLaren of Sam off the line as we make our way now down towards the first corner here, move to the outside of the track, we pass Perez, we pass the 2 Ferraris, we've made loads of places here, off the starting grid, down to 6th place again as the Ferrari on the inside line there, trying to hold us off now, but we swoop around the outside of him, and 5 places gained straight away off those first set of corners. Back end slides out on the exit at 3. Norris under pressure going in towards the end of the first sector here. Bottas in front. We're going around the outside of Bottas in towards the hairpin. We've got Bottas. What a move and a great exit out of there. We've got past Reese in this span of a couple of corners. We've gone from 10th on the grid. We're up into 3rd. What a start we've had to the Portuguese Grand Prix, and Oscar Piastri, who was very quick in the Aston Martin in practice, leads the Grand Prix with George Russell sitting in 2nd. We're in 3rd now in this Grand Prix. Bottas is fending off Reese for 4th in this race, back end sliding a little bit as we've got low downforce around this circuit, and that's going to compromise us throughout pretty much all the corners, but on the straight line, that is where we'll have the advantage there as we go around the last corner here to sum up, or to finish off what's been a beautiful first lap for us here in Portimao as we go round the last corner here onto the back straight. We've got Bottas though, who was overtaken by Reese on the end or earlier into lap 1 here. There is Piastri leading the way, Russell in 2nd, we're in 3rd, but now we've got Reese here under pressure from Bottas down towards turn 1. We've got Sainz pressurising Norris, Verstappen's in behind, Bottas round the outside of Reese into turn 1. Valtteri Bottas gets his man, but Norris there is trying to see if he can find a way past Carlos Sainz. Can he get that job done, or will Sainz have the better run through towards the hill, up the hill there? Sainz gets the better run, and that is a beautiful start. And let's go and have a look at that once again then. So as the 5 lights go out here, as you can see, Piastri actually did get pole position for this Grand Prix. He gets a lovely start. For us, we get a great start to overtake Sam instantly, but everyone tucks themselves into the inside line here, and that just allows me to swoop right around the outside line there of the apex, and then down in towards turn 3 here, or 4, I don't know. We managed to get a great launch through there. This is on board with Bottas here. He doesn't actually get a very good start. Piastri says, thank you very much, I'm off out of here, see you later, ta-ra. And he's done and out of here. Reese and also Russell swoop right around the outside, and that's what I was talking about. I managed to go around the outside of at least 3 or 4 cars, whereas for Bottas, he suffered with Reese and Russell going around the outside. This is on board with Reese here. Apologies as well, as you can see, he's not wearing the correct gloves. I only saw this whilst I was actually racing, doing these cameras. There's a lot of things that keep resetting via my mods. So I'm going to go back and try and fix them. So apologies that he's got the wrong gloves. You know, he's paying homage to a sponsorship with Alpine that he had for I don't know, ignore it, it'll be fixed. Lap 2 of the Grand Prix though, and as you can see, we're on board here with, I believe, my teammate of Lewis Hamilton here, who's pressurising Daniel Ricciardo down the start-finish rate here. I think he's actually past Daniel Ricciardo going in towards the first corner, but round the outside here, Ricciardo will still fend this one off from Lewis Hamilton, and unfortunately for Hamilton's sake, he's got a little bit more work to do on that front. Speaking of us though, here on lap 4 of the Grand Prix, we're actually settling in quite nicely. I was a bit concerned because like I said, my setup configuration was pretty much designed to be at the front and just fend everybody off basically. But that's not the case, where we actually have to do a lot of work here in this race, and that is going to culminate now to an attack here on George Russell. DRS is open, and this is what I'm talking about here. The straight line speed that we've got on this car going in towards turn 1 gets us past Russell and into 2nd place now in this Grand Prix. Piastri is just up ahead, so now it's a case of, do we have enough pace to attack this very quick Aston Martin this weekend? They've not brought any upgrades, by the way, to this weekend. They're the exact same car that they've got from the last race, but they just seem to have a lot more pace here. Somebody that doesn't have pace here on lap 5 is Sam, because going through towards the middle sector here, he's about to be overtaken by Theo Porcher in a very unusual spot to be overtaken on a racetrack there. So I don't think there's something right with that McLaren. Of course, Sam and McLaren have been having a lot of problems over this past week or so. It's all starting to come out a little bit, and that's not the way to go around it. Meanwhile, the 2 Ferraris are resuming their battle from Italy, and Verstappen overtakes Lando Norris. Meanwhile, here comes Reese to have him run here at Carlos Sainz. Down the pit straight they go, in towards turn 1, down the hill. Reese gets the job done. That's him up into 5th place now in this Grand Prix. As you can see, the trio of cars just in front of Russell, myself, and also Bottas. Speaking of them here, up the hill now, Russell gets a little bit of a squirmish exit here, and that's going to give Bottas an opportunity here to have a look at Russell, take a free place here. Around the outside here goes Valtteri Bottas. Russell's got the inside line here, but Bottas gets a better run, better exit. Bottas takes control of that. Third place to Valtteri Bottas in this Grand Prix. Russell with a small mistake there. That is costing him badly. Meanwhile, for Sam, though, things still aren't improving. Look at this. The Renault here of Ricciardo is almost alongside him before DRS is enabled. Now the Jaguar is going to absolutely breeze past the McLaren here. Going in towards the first corner, Sam loses 2 places on one straight. There is something seriously wrong with that McLaren this weekend. Back on board with the 2 Porsche cars that fancy a little bit of an attack on each other. There goes Sainz on Reese. Job done. Norris is now right on the back of this. Ferrari and Porsche look like they're about to go into a bit of a scrap with each other. Meanwhile, you can see there that Bottas is still having to fend off George Russell going down in towards the hairpin. But there is a slow driver on the start-finish straight there that looks like they're either got a puncture because they seem to be still carrying on, or they pulled over to the side of the circuit, and of course it is not Valtteri Bottas. Bottas is right behind me. Unfortunately, it is Pato O'Ward, who we'll get a look at in just a minute now. There he is, and there's the problem. The puff of smoke from the back of the engine there, that is an engine failure for Pato O'Ward, and that's a shame for him this weekend. That is a DNF for the Jaguar, and he will not be pleased with that. Lap 10 of the Grand Prix now, and we're still showcasing Sam that continues to be going backwards, because here comes Van Dorn now down the start-finish straight, and we're now at the point here where Mason Wood is trying to have a look at Sam, but we've got Mason Wood and Pierre Gasly are the only 2 drivers left to overtake Sam in this Grand Prix. So whatever's going on with that McLaren, it's only going to fuel the tension between Sam and that team. But for us though, here on lap 11, we got a little bit wide down the exit. Back end steps out. Bottas though fancies to run at that. A little bit of a mistake there in towards the middle sector. Bottas round the outside as we go now through the heart of this middle sector, through the roller coaster section of the circuit. Valtteri Bottas capitalises on another mistake here in this Grand Prix, because he capitalised on Russell's mistake. He's now just capitalised on our mistake there. Again, lap 11 now. These tyres are starting to go off a little bit for me in this Grand Prix. I'm struggling a lot now with corner grip. Look at the pace that Bottas just pulls away from us there. He's miles clear now. We've already seen him go bye-bye. Russell now fancies having a look at us here, but up the hill we go now on the start-finish straight. This is where the advantage that I have comes into play, because look at the gap that Bottas did pull on us. We'll pull that right back and get in front of Bottas in towards the first corner, and we retake second place from Valtteri Bottas in this Grand Prix, and that is a warning sign that we need to be very, very careful, because at the moment the car is not really working. As you can see, the back end stepping out again here. Bottas though with the DRS here, he's going to have a little run here down towards the hairpin. Can he make this move sick? He'll have the outside line, we'll have the inside line. We can force him wide though on the exit and put him under pressure from Russell, but he seems to have held off Russell nicely, and that's job done for him. But for Piastri though, if you check out the minimap there, he's actually gapping me at the moment. I can't catch him at this stage of the race, which is a big concern. But all I can do is just keep going at him. But yeah, for Piastri's sake, things going nicely for him. Lap 13 of the Grand Prix here, and once again, the 2 Porsche cars are trading places as Sainz gets past Reese in towards turn 1. Job done for him. That's 5th place for Sainz this time around, and they keep having their lusts for fun. Lap 14 of the Grand Prix here. This is our pit window now, so we're coming in at the end of this lap here, and you can see that Valtteri Bottas is hovering all over the back of me here, and so much so that me trying to take a wide line here throughout the last corner, you can see the grip difference that's happening here through the last corner, because Bottas now takes that place back. It's not the end of the world though, because we're coming into the pits. Bottas stays out for another lap, so the Red Bull going longer and doing the opposite to what I'm doing in this race. So that's an interesting strategical call there. But the crucial thing now is this pit stop, we can't afford to be held up here from the other cars that are coming in behind us. And crucially, we were not. So we can get back out into this Grand Prix ahead of the rest of the pack. And now we can try and continue with our race and see where our performance lies with everybody else. There looks like Oscar Piastri, who's just about coming out in front of a BMW there. George Russell came in a couple of laps earlier than me, so Russell does the undercut there. Piastri is just behind the BMW, so we can close a little bit up on him. Bottas, meanwhile, stays out, and crucially, he'll have a free track to run with and no traffic, because Piastri will have the traffic. But lap 18 of the Grand Prix, Piastri no longer has that traffic. He continues to lead the Portuguese Grand Prix. We've got a bit of a gap now on Bottas, which you can see there. But now we've caught back up to George Russell, who's on the hard tyres for the McLaren driver. That's why he undercut us. But this is what I'm talking about the straight line speed that we have got in this race, because that is one of the easiest overtakes I think I've ever had in my life. And we're in towards the first corner and ahead of Russell. So there we go. That's second place back in the books. But can we go a little bit quicker and have better degradation on the medium compound tyres as we go a little bit wide there on the exit, and now have to cover off Russell here to catch Oscar Piastri and to try and win this Portuguese Grand Prix? We are closer to him, but we saw in the first stint that the Aston Martin was able to pull away from his here. Lap 20 of the Grand Prix now, looking further down the order here. This is Sergio Perez going for a move on Max Verstappen in towards turn 1. Perez gets the job done. Nice overtake from him. Clean and smooth on that occasion. Lap 22 here, we're on board with Russell now, who's still hovering over the back of me in this Grand Prix. But Bottas now has caught right up to George Russell. And as you can see, the DRS is going to open here for Valtteri. Down the start-finish straight he goes, in towards turn 1. Bottas around the outside. Russell will fend this one off as much as he can, but that's as much as he can do, is try and put up a fight. While Reese has also caught right back up to George Russell in all of this. So Russell now on these hard tyres is definitely under some pressure now. He'll have the DRS to work with, but unfortunately one lap later, this is Reese now going to go for the run here on George Russell. The hard tyres on the McLaren are not working at all. Bottas, meanwhile, as you can see there, has got DRS on myself in this Grand Prix. So Bottas now is a big threat. Of course, we're only 9 points clear of Valtteri in the top of the Drivers' Championship, so every point matters going into the final rounds of the season. So we need to be on our toes here. This is my teammate Lewis Hamilton, who's attacking Lando Norris in the Ferrari. The Ferrari seems to have dropped off the ball a little bit in the second half of this race. Hamilton goes around the outside. Mediums doing better than the hards, which we seem to be seeing going into there. Lap 27 of the Grand Prix now. As you can see there on the mini-map, the Porsche of Reese is under pressure constantly from Russell and from Sainz. We are trying to attack Oscar Piastri. We're getting closer to the Aston Martin, but again, we take the wider line here, and Bottas is going to try and go for it down the inside here. This is going to get competitive now as we go through the last corner. Bottas goes into second, but we've got the straight line speed at our pay, and as you can see here, get that DRS flap open. Bye-bye, Bottas, and I don't even need to go over-exaggerating on the commentary side of things, because we are flying clear of Bottas going towards turn 1, so much so that I actually took a track limit warning for that one, so whoopsie, but there we go. It is what it is, but we are closing the gap to Piastri. We're getting there, but we're running out of laps now to get onto the back of the Aston Martin here. Meanwhile, Verstappen, who got overtaken by Perez earlier in the second stint, is coming back at Sergio Perez now with the DRS here open on the start-finish straight. He's going to go to the left-hand side, right-hand side of the circuit, take the inside line, and actually get Perez before they even get to the corner. So fair play to Verstappen. Job done for him in this Grand Prix as we go back on board. And this is the fight that I was talking about here between Reese, Russell, and also Sainz here. Russell now, has he got DRS here to fend against Carlos Sainz? I don't think he does, actually, going in towards turn 1. So Sainz can take that position quite easily there, and he's back behind his teammate Reese in 6th place, I believe it is now. But here we are, lap 32 of this Grand Prix. One of the BMWs has retired from the Grand Prix. Lap 33 now of this race. It's the last lap here. Myself and Bottas have been pushing each other as hard as we possibly can. So much so that we've caught up to Piastri here. We've got one more lap here to try and get at the Aston Martin. Can Aston Martin get their first win in Formula 1? Can Piastri get his first win in Formula 1? Remember, Piastri was dropped by Aston Martin, by Ferrari, in favour of Verstappen. He's gone to Aston Martin, and he's putting in a hell of a race here. He started this race on pole. He's led every single lap, apart from when he pitted, when Bottas took the lead, and that's the only time he's lost it. We get the DRS, though, in the second straight, but it's not enough here. In towards this middle sector now, trying everything. The back end is coming out. We've got very little ERS left to deploy here in this Grand Prix for Oscar Piastri's chase here, down in towards this tricky final part of the lap here. This is where we are the slowest on the track, so if we've got anything, if we've got something special, we've got to use it now. Going in towards the final few corners here, I think Piastri's done it. The back end is stepping out here. We've got onto the marbles ever so slightly. Round the last corner, it's not going to be enough. The back end slides. Bottas is all over the back of us. Piastri's gone in this Grand Prix. And for the first time in Formula 1, Aston Martin and Oscar Piastri win a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Bravo to Aston Martin. Credit to them. They were outstanding this race weekend. And what a moment it is for Oscar Piastri. It looked like his career had taken a massive, massive dent when Ferrari basically said, we don't want you. But Piastri has been working hard. He's been putting in some brilliant races for the team, and with multiple DNFs hitting him this point this season, he really has been a shining light in Formula 1 this season. Oscar Piastri is your race winner. Meanwhile, for us, we come across the line in second place with the fastest lap as well at the Grand Prix with a 1 minute 16.461, which is crucial for the championship battle between myself and Valtteri Bottas, who finishes in third, 1.2 seconds behind at the checkered flag. The top three were very, very competitive. Overall in that race for me, I was very, very happy with my race. Obviously the qualifying was heavily hampered, and I guess I get a bit more time to explain it. So effectively in the race, whilst I knew that obviously I could be quick in the corners, for some reason the setup that I went with, as you would have seen from my overtakes and my defending, I was so fast on the straight that I basically felt like I had so much performance as well in qualifying in particular, because all the straights I was so much quicker that the corner loss was not so bad. So my initial plan was to start on pole if I could, and I set purple first sector, so I was on course. And then if anybody came to attack me for what, you know, if I was struggling and I was under attack, well, as you would have seen on the straights, no one would have been able to pass me. So that was the plan, but starting from 10th and finishing second, I'll take it. Porsche will also take this result for them. P4 and P5 this weekend. Reese finishing in 4th and Sainz coming across the line in P5. George Russell finishes 6th for McLaren ahead of Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, with Max Verstappen finishing in a lonely P8 for Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton splitting the two Ferraris. She finishes in P9 with Lando Norris in P10. Looking at the second half of the table now, and Theo Pourchaire, this is going to be a very difficult scenario now for Theo Pourchaire. He finishes in P11 and once again doesn't score any points. And crucially, Oscar Piastri, who's already been carrying Aston Martin this season, now has the burden on his back that his teammate has won the Grand Prix and he was 21 seconds behind at the finish line, not scoring points. Charles Leclerc finishes in 12th for Audi ahead of Sam in the McLaren. Daniel Ricciardo finishes in 14th for Renault, with Mason Wood finishing in P15. Callum Ilott is 16th for Jaguar, with Nick de Vries in 17th for the second Audi driver, and Gasly finishes in 18th for Renault. The only two drivers to DNF were Van Dorn and Pato O'Ward, but crucially, the other big man not to score points is Sam, and it's once again another disastrous weekend in what's been a disastrous second half of the season for McLaren. How has that affected the Drivers' Championship though now? Well, let's take a look then. As you can see, we are still top of the Drivers' Championship with now 227 points to our name. Valtteri Bottas now sits 13 points back in the Drivers' Championship with 214 points. Sam in the McLaren is on 161 points, and that lead, that championship deficit is now 66 points. So if it wasn't already a little bit of a crisis time for Sam and McLaren, that is very much now a real factor. And the other factor in all of this is Oscar Piastri. That win has moved him, well, it keeps him 4th in the championship actually, but he's now 31 points behind the McLaren. And the way that Piastri is performing, he's been constantly getting top 4, top 5 finishes. If he can keep doing that, and if McLaren can't get their act together, there could be a chance for Piastri to get 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen is 5th in the Drivers' Championship with 105 points. He goes in front of Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris, who are very close behind him on 103 points. A man that's getting much closer to that group of cars with the one between Verstappen and themselves is Carlos Sainz. He's only on 96 points, so he's actually, what, 7 points behind Hamilton and Norris, and only 9 points behind Verstappen. So there's a chance here that Sainz could go up to 5th in the championship. George Russell is on 89 points and Reese is on 85 points. So those two drivers are also very close in the mix. The next event for us is going to be the final round of the European leg of this season. It's the F1 Journey Belgian Grand Prix, where there is plenty of straights, plenty of high-speed corners, and probably one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. Now, looking at the Constructors' Championship and seeing how that has ebbed and flowed, well, we are top of the Constructors' Championship still, with 330 points to our name. Red Bull are on 281 points. We still have a very comfortable margin at the top of the constructors. Myself and Hamilton still working wonders together to give Mercedes the best possible chance of winning back-to-back Constructors' Championships. Red Bull still in second. McLaren stay third in the Constructors' Championship. They are now 29 points behind Red Bull at the top of the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari sitting lonely in fourth on 208 points. Well, I say lonely with 208 points, but Porsche are only 27 points back, if my maths is correct. With their results that they're getting at the moment, they are outscoring Ferrari. There is still a chance for Porsche to get fourth in the championship, which would be a massive recovery for them, considering where they started. Aston Martin are on 142 points now in the championship, staying sixth, with Audi on 33 points. Jaguar are on 11. BMW still with those critical 2 points, with Renault still unable to find a way to get a point in this season. But that is it for the F1 Journey Portuguese Grand Prix. Let's go take a look at the post-race notebook now, see what the teams and drivers had to say after this Grand Prix. Taking a look at the post-race notebook after the Portuguese Grand Prix, Oscar Piastri takes Aston Martin's first Formula 1 win and his own personal first F1 Grand Prix victory. Championship contenders Tom and Valtteri Bottas finished just behind P2 and P3. Starting things off with Mercedes, they were pleased with Tom's recovery drive after the Portuguese Grand Prix. His qualifying was significantly hampered by the BMW driver going in towards the middle sector, dropping him down into P10, but an incredible first lap going all the way up from 10th to 3rd meant that his drive was much more normal for him, but he said that he just didn't have the pace to compete with what Aston Martin had this weekend. Aston Martin, after this race win, have been celebrating in the paddock after this race victory. It was an emotional moment for them. Oscar Piastri getting pole position for the Aston Martin and then leading pretty much every single lap and then surviving the late threat of the push of the championship contenders who were giving it everything to catch back up to the Aston Martin driver. In the end, it just wasn't enough for them. And the issues down at McLaren continue, with Sam once again having a really rough weekend. And as you would have seen, he was dropping down the order very quickly throughout the Grand Prix. McLaren have confirmed that that was indeed due to a battery issue. 66 points behind now, Sam is in the Drivers' Championship. With not many races now left to go, it's becoming more and more impossible for him to take that elusive World Championship with McLaren. But that is it, guys, for the F1 Journey Portuguese Grand Prix. If you guys have enjoyed it, drop it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, and I will catch you guys in the next episode of the Belgian Grand Prix. Take care all, peace.